you'll be in big trouble.
Exactly. Record. Okay, guys, welcome to the hot seat call. We'll make it official. Jenn Richardson, please introduce yourself.
Hey guys, first of all, congratulations on getting on here. It's super exciting. For those of you who don't know me, I started coaching in 2013. I hit 15-star in 2 years, Million Club in 3, I'm a 5-time elite, 6-time elite, 5-time, 6-time, one of those. I'm from Florida. I have 2 little boys. That's it. Gosh, when you sum it up like that, it sounds really boring. All right, Holly, you go.
Yeah, Jen, that's so boring. You're just like insane rock star coach. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Hillyer, and I just had my 5-year coach anniversary, which is insane. I literally feel like I just started like last week. I am a 2-time top 10 coach and 3-time elite. Yeah, the elite thing gets confusing since we're on the verge this year. And yeah, I'm mom of 2 boys. Sorry, I'm also a little disheveled. We are in Orlando this weekend for our retreat, and I just got out of the car with a 5-month-old and a 3-year-old for 8 hours of driving. So I'm like trying to like wrap my brain around they're sleeping, and now I can like have me time. So I'm so excited to be on this call with you guys and to get to like clear my mom out of like mom mode. So I'm excited.
Okay. Well, you know what I love about all that is that you're both just real people that, you know, became coaches, and now you're just these rock star coaches, and you just kind of figured it out. So why don't we start it with that question? Like, Jenn, why did you become a coach? Like, how did you find Beachbody, and how did you, I mean, maybe don't go that, just how did you find Beachbody? Why did you become a coach? And we'll get into how you got started. Then we'll have Holly say the same thing.
So for me, I had just had my 2nd son. He was 2 months old when I joined, and I had just really lost my own identity. I was kind of just in this place of where I felt like I should be completely fulfilled by being a mom and a wife, and I wasn't. And that was like a guilt phase where I felt a lot of guilt surrounding that. And my coach, Steph Chico, invited me to her challenge group, and I fell in love with the community. I lost 45 pounds, so that was cool too, baby weight. And I was just like, why am I not taking this opportunity to the next level? So honestly, I spent 2013 as a discount coach, much to Steph's dismay. And 2014, I jumped in.
Awesome. Holly.
Yeah, so when I started as a challenger who didn't really need to lose weight, but I needed a community. So I had moved from Virginia out to California with my soon-to-be husband, and I changed jobs. My background is I was an engineer and did a lot of work for the government. And when I moved from DC, government work, engineering work, where I was like in it, out to California, I just fell out of love with my job. I found myself in that depressed place. And so when my coach reached out to me, we had not talked like decades. Literally, we did gymnastics together. We were like 10 years old, and I was like 30. But she friend requested me on Facebook. You guys, do you know, I was so excited to get that friend request. I was like, oh my gosh, like someone to talk with, someone to connect with. Like, it was not like scammy. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. She found me. And so she reached out and asked me to a challenge group. And I loved the gym because that was kind of the only community I had. And so I didn't really want to give up the gym, but I was like, I'll try this challenge group thing. Fell in love with the challenge groups. She asked me to coach, and I said no 3 times because I was like, I'm not going to be a salesperson. I truthfully, I didn't judge my coach because I was like, oh, she's rocking this. And like, she didn't seem salesy, but I judged like multi-level marketing in general. And so I kept telling her no. And I was like, I'm above that. Like, I'm an engineer and I have all these degrees and I'm like so fancy. And then when I really started looking at it, I was like, oh, but I'm the one who's super unhappy in life. And like, my coach is like loving life. And this is right. We had just gotten married and I was ready to have kids. And I was like, oh, and she's home with her 3 kids. And I'm going to have to leave my babies to go to a job that I hate. And so I decided to coach really because the challenge groups pulled me out of that depression. And then when I decided I was going to do it, I was like, I am leaving this job that I hate, and I am like coming home to my kids. So when I finally did sign up, I was all in. I was ready to go.
That's awesome. That's incredible. So Holly, so you became a coach. I mean, let's jump into that. So talk about how you got started as a coach. So you signed up, and what happened?
Yeah. So I signed up, and I say like I went all in. So my coach set the expectation. She was like, listen, if you hit like Success Club, that's what you need to do like every single month to move your business forward. And that is totally true, but it wasn't move my business as fast as I wanted to. So when I started, I was like, I'm going to hit Success Club 10 every month. And I did. And I'm lucky. Lindsay Matway is like my upline. And she ran these Monday night, her bombshell team calls every Monday night without fail. And because I just had my coach anniversary, I have a selfie of me with like my notebook on that first bombshell call, like taking notes. So when I started, it was just like, I dove all in, searched every single like YouTube channel, all of that. And I was in it, and I hit Success Club 10. But when I say in it, I really mean I was super comfortable talking about the challenger side, and I could share, like I could be that product of the product, and I could find those challengers, but I never talked about coaching. And so it took me a while for my business to kind of step up. So that first year I signed up like in October. By the next December, so like 15 months, we were a 2-star premier team, which is awesome. But I'll caveat that with they were 2 warm market people for me. So it wasn't like they were challengers who one of them had been doing challenge groups for years. No one had ever asked her to coach. And so I just asked her to coach. And another one was like my sister-in-law. And so they were warm market, which is awesome. But again, very different than like really attracting business builders to me. So we went premier that year. And the following year, we went elite. Again, this all sounds really fancy, right? It's like, well, you say you didn't like shoot up or whatever. But when we went elite, the same 2 diamonds plus my second business center plus 1 new diamond that entire year. And then I built my husband and I built together his spouse account to get me to 5-star. But that means I went from premier to elite. That whole year, I had 1 new diamond. And that felt so slow, painfully slow. But it was that year when I was working to build with my husband to diamond that he became diamond in about 10 days. And I realized the power of momentum and the power of the push, and just that this business was a lot more in my control than I liked to think. You know, I went back to that whole, I'm just going to hit Success Club 10. This business is going to build itself. And that month, that November, Thanksgiving month, I hit Success Club 100. I'd never done anything like that. And I realized it was just taking more massive action. And so that year I went from 5-star elite with 1 new diamond to top 10 the next year. And it really was that shift in mindset for me that like, I'm going to take control of this business, and it's just more of the same actions. Like it was just more.
Okay. So Jenn, I'm coming back in a minute, but Holly,
sorry.
I want you to know, I love it. I want you to answer the question though. When you first became a coach and you said you hit, Success Club 10 in like those first months, how did you do it?
Yeah. So those first months, literally the first year and a half of my business, all warm market. So I had less than 400 friends on Facebook. So those first few months were talking to everyone on my Facebook list. I didn't have Instagram, and adding to my Facebook network every single day. So I never said like I'm running out of people, because every day I would go into friends and I would look for anyone that we had like 10 friends in common, at least 10 friends in common, and I would just add them. And it was super fast. I'd add 25 to 50 people a day in like 10 minutes, like so fast. And then I would start going, at the beginning of every month, I went through my friends list in alphabetical order, and I wrote down every single person that I hadn't invited. And then I had my follow-up list, and I moved over every single month. And so it was warm market, adding to that. And in that year and a half, while working in that warm market, because warm market, even if I don't know those people, friends of friends, there is a trust level. When they write to you and say, hey, like, how do I know you? And I'm like, oh my gosh, because I went to UVA and like Facebook said, you know, whatever, Facebook recommended that I friend you, and I looked and like, we both went to UVA, and you have, my best friend in the world is Molly. Like, how do you know her? How do we not know each other? Instantly, I go from being a creeper to someone that went to UVA, and we now have these like great friends in common. And if you love Molly and I love Molly, like we're going to connect. And so it sped up that process. So there's a big difference between like adding someone to your network where there is a connection, and like going on Instagram and like adding someone from like Idaho, or I don't know. I don't know anyone in Idaho. You know, like there's a big difference. And in that year and a half though, while working in that warm market, I worked to grow my cold market and gain the trust of the people in my cold market. So I had people following me for months and months and months and months, and I was providing them value and value and value before I even started tapping into my cold market. But I did all warm market on Facebook.
Hey, and you do know Micah Folsom, and she's in Idaho. Anyway, but the question pops up in the first 3 months, trying to focus really right there. How many hours a day are you doing Beachbody? Are you working full time? And how many invites a day are you doing?
Yeah, so that I was working my full-time corporate job, and I'd get up, I had the exact same schedule. I'd get up every morning, and that's when I would do my personal development reading and my workout. And then like on the train, on the way to work, I would do my little like edit little workout video. And guys, we had to post 3 to 5 times a day back then, 3 to 5 times a day. So I had to really like plan out when I was going to post all that. Now it's just once a day. But I do that in the morning, and I almost like don't even count that as time. I mean, your workout should not be part of like your power hour. That's you like developing you. And then I did have my 10, 15 minutes of personal development in the morning. And I'd listen to personal development while getting ready for work. So even if you don't get up to read, just put it on while you're like doing hair and makeup, and there's your personal development for the day without taking any time. And then I get home at night, and after dinner with my husband sitting on the couch beside me, I just get on my laptop and I'd work. And I worked an hour and a half every night after work. And then on weekends, I'd get up before my husband would, because he was like not super supportive. I mean, I don't want to say he wasn't supportive. He didn't believe in the business. He's like, he saw it pull me out of depression. So he was like, great, if you love this, like do it. But he like didn't believe in it. So like when it really like affected his time is when he was like, like, what are you doing? So on weekends, I'd wake up before him, and I would work like 2 hours on Saturday and 3 hours probably on Sunday. And those 3 hours on Sunday set me up for the full week. So I'd plan out every single post, and not necessarily write it out, but no, hey, today's a coaching post. Hey, today's a challenge group post. Today's like a post where I try to get engagement. Today's a post where I talk about personal development. But I had all of those laid out. I also did like block timing. So I'd go through my whole schedule. I'd write down, what are all my corporate activities? Like corporate job activities? What are all my Beachbody activities? What are all my personal life activities? And then I would take those and assign them time blocks through the week. So on Sunday, I literally have my entire week planned like hour by hour, and I knew when I was going to do things. So that's why that Sunday took a little longer. But that hour to hour and a half, Monday through Friday, that was just like pure adding to network and inviting, because those are the things that like really, really matter in your business. And so there was no way that I like every night was at least 10 invites. I was trying to get 20 good invites, and then of course like clearing out my inbox. And I also would do like, so I would add to my network. I would do love bombing. So I'd go through my list again at the beginning of the month. I made the list of usually 200 people that I was going to try to like love bomb connect with. Meaning I'd go to their Facebook page for 3 days. I'd like love on stuff and ask questions. And then those people got moved to my invite list. And then I'd go and send them a private message. Oh my gosh, whatever it was on their page that I was talking about. So it wasn't just like that cold message. And then after that conversation, maybe 1 to 2 days, then I'd say something like, hey, I'm sure you've seen that I started my own online health and fitness business. I run it with, back then I would say like for busy entrepreneurs, and now, or say for busy women. For now I say like, you know, I run accountability groups, or really I say mom community groups. So I run these mom community groups where we focus on health and fitness, but we all like just support one another in mom life. Would you want more information? So that was my like hour to hour and a half. It would be adding to network, love bombing, inviting, and then following up and like clearing my inbox of any of those conversations that I was having.
Perfect. We're going to come back and dive into your like current strategy, because I know the world has changed with Instagram. But Jen, let's dive into I guess yours is the start of year 2. Let's talk about, the first year, maybe cover it quickly, what you did with the business, if anything, and then what changed and what did you do to get started once you really kind of committed and started building?
So it's funny because in year 1, so Steph was basically like, I really want to go 1 star, and that means you need to go diamond. And I was like a month in of being a coach, and I'm like, I'm a discount coach. I'm like, okay, well, what does diamond mean? And she's like, 8 coaches, and then 2 of those coaches get 2 coaches. I'm like, all right, I'll do that. And so what I did is I just started sharing my weight loss journey, like organically, as I was like losing this baby weight, and wasn't really trying to sell anyone. So I wasn't trying to go out of my way to invite. I wasn't trying to go out of my way to friend people. I wasn't trying to do anything other than show them what this looked like for me. And I signed up 8 discount coaches, and then they signed up discount coaches, and I went diamond in 2 months. But know this, I made no money my first year. So I don't teach pushing for a discount diamond rank, because sure, I went diamond quickly, but I didn't make any money. So starting 2014, I was like, I want to do this. I want to build. I did kind of what Holly did, where I took my warm market list. I had like this invite. I was like, do this with me. I had this awesome challenge group that I had set up that I can invite them to. And I'm not kidding you guys. Like everybody said no. Like everybody said no. I was like, wow, okay. So everyone doesn't want to do this. It was like, some were cool, Jen. Like, that's cool. Like, good for you. And others were like, no. But it was a lot of no's. So if any of you guys are in a phase of like where you're getting rejection or objection, like that's how I started. But I'm not a quitter. And so I was like, okay, so my warm market and Facebook isn't working for me. What can I do different? How can I be different? And what can set me apart from what the rest of this Beachbody network is doing? And at that time, Instagram was like this baby platform that nobody used. And I was like, okay, well, if my warm market isn't there, I'm going to start using this new market that's kind of untapped. And I built this cold market that became warm. And what I did, and I told myself this going in, I was going to work really hard for a couple years. Like I was going to really go all in. Remember, I have babies, so I didn't really have like this set schedule where I could say like from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'm working. But that's what my life looks like now. My kids are 6 and 8. But then I was working in pockets of time. It was like whenever I had time, when they were napping, when they were watching cartoons, when they were playing in their playroom, I would pull out my phone. And so for me, if you guys are in that stage of not having this very fluid schedule and you're kind of trying to work in pockets, I did a need to do list and a want to do list. My need to do was invite 50 people a day. So 50 people a day were going to be invited every single day, no matter what that looked like. It was a non-negotiable for me to invite 50 people. I didn't start running my business from a challenge group perspective or a fitness perspective. It was like a biz op, straight across the board, become a coach. And I shared it from a place of, I was really unhappy. I was facing this kind of postpartum depression phase. I was really lost. Who feels like that? And so what I teach now is knowing your niche. So it's not going to work for you if you're tapping into this niche of like moms who are kind of in a postpartum depression phase, if that wasn't you. So you need to know who you're talking to, and that's who I was talking to, and that's who I honed in on Instagram. So I would invite 50 people a day, which meant I had to add more than 50 people a day. So I was adding 100 people a day to my feed. And I do it the same way now, like 7 years later, almost 7 years later that I did then. Niche market, find hashtags that pertain to that person that you're searching for, like your avatar, accounts that are really quite large that are non-Beachbody related, because it never made sense to me to go after Beachbody Coaches following, because why would I do that? They're already targeting that target. So I would like look for bloggers or social media influencers, people that I could follow and kind of watch who's watching them. And then I would just follow them and start engaging on their posts. And I find that if you're creating this beautiful story, which I've done for years on Instagram, and I believe in that platform, if you are sharing a story and it's visually appealing and it's engaging and you're a storyteller, as you go to all these accounts and you're following and you're commenting and you're liking and you're engaging, they're going to click back on your profile. And what are they going to see? So visually, what do they see? And then as they read your captions, what do they see? So I would go to slews of people, and then they'd come back and they'd look at the story I was telling, and then we would connect. And it's basically the same method today that I did years ago. Less numbers, but same method.
Yeah. So give me, when you say visually appealing, you got to define that more.
So, and I don't want to get it twisted that you have to have like these perfectly posed pictures where your like hair's blowing in the wind and your clothes are perfect. It doesn't have to be that, but I think like the way the photograph is taken. So like you could literally plop your kid down in a big pile of laundry in your laundry room. And if the lighting is good, and if you kind of edit it, there's very basic apps like Snapseed or PicTapGo. It's pretty easy to edit a picture now. It's beautiful chaos. And that picture of your kid sitting on a stack of laundry that you still haven't done in a week, and you tell that story in the caption, like now you've just made a connection. So the picture, and this is what I teach with Instagram. I know this is kind of going off on another topic, but the picture has to tell the story if the caption is never read. And so Instagram is very visual. So if you are doing all these follows and you're doing these hashtags and you're engaging on these posts, if someone comes back to your page, do they know who you are in the 10 seconds that they look at your profile? And you need to look at your profile and ask yourself that. But that was something I did from the get-go. So then it was mom chaos, mom of babies, organic baby food, baby wearing. It was all of these things. But when you went to my Instagram, you saw that's who I was. And those are the people I was trying to attract. So same method, different niche.
Awesome. Well, and I think so I'm going to jump to Holly, but I'm going to come back because, Jen, I want you, you've got one of the biggest, ever watched videos on the Champions page about Instagram. And I think, they probably really ought to hear your 5-minute what to do, what not to do on Instagram. So I'll come back to that. Holly, I'll jump to you while Jen gets that ready. Holly, you need to define love bomb. What does it mean to love bomb?
So when I say love bomb, it's kind of like how, like on the National Wake Up Call, Danae was talking about doing like the 331 on Instagram, but it's like on Facebook. So you go to their profile, you scroll some of their pictures, you're going to, like 3 to 5 of them. And then I usually comment on like 1 or 2. But I think the difference maker and where people get stuck, they'll do like the comments and then like, oh, your kid's so cute. That doesn't gain you traction in terms of like communicating and starting conversation, right? So I like to go and find a picture where I can ask a question and then start the conversation there, especially if you haven't talked to them in a long time or you haven't ever talked to them, right? So, oh my gosh, like my son's the same age, like where did you get that? Like he would love it. Or like, where did you go on vacation? Or like, where are, something like that where they're going to come back and answer you. But love bombing is truly, it's just going and liking some of the photos on their page and then asking a few questions so you can start a conversation there, which you then can move into private message and you're not just a creeper who shows up in their messenger like, hey, girling them.
Well, and let's have you go into that a little further because I think a lot of people try to do that and they are creeping on them. Like, I don't know that they're genuine enough in their conversation to do it right. So
yes.
Maybe talk further about that. You're not faking it. Like you're actually trying to get to know people, but go ahead.
Yes. And so with Facebook, I really try to, once when I go to their page, I do look at those friends and comment and try to figure out what is that underlying connection? Like, where is it that I knew them from or would have, whether it be college or my hometown, or what is that underlying connection so that I then can use that when scrolling their feed. And if they don't, if they've moved somewhere else or I've moved all over. So I use moving a lot, like, oh my gosh, like, I saw that you were from Winchester. Like, how did you end up out in California? We ended up out there too, or something like that. But I don't just want to ask like, oh, where'd you get your kids like shirt. Okay. Cause that is just like really surface level, but really trying to dig into something a little bit deeper, like something that I actually care the answer to. Like, do you care about the answer to the question you're asking? And actually on Instagram, where it is cold market, I almost find it easier, because warm market, I really do want them to know, like, I do care about you, and I may like end up at a friend's wedding and you could be there. Like, I may actually meet you in person. Instagram, because you get to go find your people, like, I genuinely like fall in love with some people's feeds. I'm like, I am obsessed with your kids. I am obsessed that you guys live out on this farm. Like, what the heck? Or like, I genuinely like want to know, like, where did you get this? Or make like that connection. Like, if I don't actually want to ask that person a question, then like move on, because they're probably not going to be your people anyway. If you have to like, if you're like, well, she's a mom, but like, oh my gosh, like she's a mom. Like, I don't curse a lot in like my public persona of Holly. I was cursing a lot on this road trip today with these children in my head. But like, if there's someone who's like F-bombs all over their page, like, they are not my person. Just because they look cute and they have cute kids, like, I'm like, I don't know what I would say to you. This does not look like my person. But like, if they have like a beautiful like home, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, when did you do shiplap in your home? But something that's just like real connection. Like, don't force it. If you go to their profile, they're not your people, move on. There's a million people out there. So you need to feel, if you feel like you're forcing it, you shouldn't force it.
Perfect. Okay, so Holly, while Jen talks about how to do Instagram, you be ready to answer how you do it different than Jen. So go ahead, Jen. How would you teach everyone on this call to approach Instagram today?
Well, it's funny because what Holly's saying is 100%, and it's the most common thing that I see done incorrectly and done wrong. So I see people like, well, I just need to message 100 people a day. And then they take this script like, hey girl, oh my God, like, you're so cute. I'm running this challenge group and it'd be so awesome if you would join it. And I want to like die. And when like, never do that at all. And same thing what Holly's saying is like, if you genuinely connect with this person, so I don't message anyone that I actually wouldn't want to hang out with in real life. And here's why. I could message 100 people and maybe sign up 15 of them. I mean, who knows, right? But are they going to jive with my team? Are they going to jive with me? Are they going to end up being a successful coach because, you know, we have some sort of connection? So I think that is really key, is only following people that are part of your target market. But I would say the first step with Instagram is like laying the foundation, creating this visual story before you really can kind of put yourself out there. Because if you don't have the framework on your own Instagram, even if you craft these beautiful messages, or you're doing all the vital behaviors of invites and hashtags and all these things, if they come back to your page and, you know, maybe the pictures are really dark, or maybe they're all selfies of you holding a shake, like, what story is that telling? And so what I try to do with my coaches, and if you don't have an upline that could do this with you, maybe get in these pods where you can do social media audits on each other. So I'll go to my coaches' pages and I'm like, you tell me 3 things that I'm supposed to know about you when I go to your page. Before I go, tell me those 3 things. And they'll be like, well, I'm a dog mom, and I love to kayak, and I love to decorate my house. And I'm like, got it. Okay, those are your niches. Then I go to their page and I see selfie, 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 selfie. And I'm like, where's your dog? Like, where's the decor? Like, where's the story? And they show me these beautiful hashtag set lists of these people that, you know, these great hashtags that fall into those niche markets. They're targeting the right people in their head of what their interests are, but the story that they're telling on their feed is not the type of people they're trying to attract. So I find that the biggest gap in like why people say, well, I'm following 100 people, but I'm not getting any follow backs. Well, are the people that you're trying to attract, are you telling that story on your social media? So I would say the biggest thing with your Instagram is pick at least 3 things about you. Who are you talking to? When you make a post, when you craft that caption, when you take that picture, who are you talking to, and how do you want them to respond? So a lot of times I see posts and I see captions where someone's telling the story, and I read it and I'm like, how could I respond to that? Like, genuinely, how could I respond? So keep in your head, when you take this picture and when you formulate the caption, what kind of response do you want? And what are you hoping they say? And are you setting it up in a way that they can respond to what you're putting out there? And provide value. So if you're just posting because we told you should post once a day for an Instagram algorithm, it's not going to cut it. People are going to feel that. So genuinely, I'm telling you, if you have nothing of interest to say that day or nothing sparks you, don't share. Just wait until something comes up. Something else that I feel like is really important in today with Instagram is getting out of your house and going out and about. So we're competing with lots of other network marketing companies. What we can't compete against them on is face-to-face. So what I've been teaching on Instagram is trying to go to local restaurants, local parks, museums, venues that you can go in person and you can tag them, which a lot of times they'll reshare you and you'll connect with your local market. Find local hashtags so that you're connecting with people in your region so that you start providing value about your city, or even if it's a small town. I lived in a really small town. I mean, there was like nobody there and I was still able to do it. And so now I was able to be like, okay, well, yes, that girl over there selling you the lip gloss or those girls with the nail strips, I get it. But I can sit down front face to face with you and we can get coffee. So you're using social media in the same way that you're targeting a niche, but you're taking it a step further and you're trying to find people in your region that you can provide value to them, that these other network marketers that I've heard the oversaturation thing a million times and I don't believe it, because there's ways to do it that you're not doing it right now.
Awesome. Holly, what are you doing?
Yeah, no, I've learned a lot from Jenn, so I'll put that out there. And one thing, actually, Jenn she did a team call the other night and she was talking about captions. And I find this super interesting. And this is something that we do a little different, but I also want to kind of say why I think it works for both of us. So Jenn she definitely does like her storytelling post, but she does it a lot less than me. She said, she was like, she will do, Jenn's like witty and can come up with these really cute, like short, like captions. And I'm like sitting here thinking for 30 minutes how to write a two-minute caption. But like Jenn's so good. Like she said, here's the photo, here's the caption. You don't have to read a lot. And that is what her readers want. And that's what Jenn wants, right? Like you also need, again, you need to know you. You need to know you when you are putting your social media together, because you are going to want to attract you. And for me, like I fell in love with storytelling, and it truly is what changed my entire business. And storytelling was, I built using my Facebook like page, right? Jenn's like, listen, I didn't really use Facebook. I built on Instagram. Instagram very much has been this, especially in the beginning, like that short caption form, right? Photo, short caption, bam, you're done. I built over on Facebook where storytelling and people like, they want to know you. They want to be like your best friend. It's very different. And so I still now tell most of my posts on Instagram are much longer captions. It is very much that like storytelling place still for me. And again, because I built on Facebook and a lot of my followers then followed me to Instagram, and because I've grown my Instagram following doing that, that is what people expect from me. But it is a difference in our accounts. And again, I don't think one necessarily has to be better than the other, but I do think you need to know what you're good at, what you enjoy. When you scroll social media, what do you enjoy? And then, that is what's going to come the easiest to you. Don't try to be Jenn or don't try to be me if one or the other doesn't work for you. So that's, I think, one difference in, between us. And then I completely agree with Jenn. I mean, go to your Instagram and look. And I also think it's very interesting how Jenn has said, listen, when I started this business, I was like that mom in the middle of mom life and like me and my kids in the house all the time. Now I have more structure and my kids are in school. Her social media looks different. So once again, my social media doesn't look like Jenn's because I freaking am like in my house with 2 young kids 24/7, like trying to run a business in pockets of time, right? So I have a lot of photos of like me in my house or like in the backyard. And again, it is really important to like change up locations. Don't take the same one in the same room, and don't do stories in the same room. Guys, like change the background of your stories. It's like a whole nother thing. But like, even if you're just like in your house, you can make your photos visually interesting, and they can be visually different, right? So I coaches say, oh my gosh, yeah, like I don't know, my life's so boring. I don't ever leave the house. I'm stuck at home with kids, or I'm at work all day and then I'm at home. That's fine. You can still change how things look around you. You can still make an image, tell a story, even when staying in the same place. So and I do say this business pushes me to like go do more things with my kids, because I do want to like change backgrounds and like Jen said, like tag different places. I'm like, oh my gosh, kids, you don't know how lucky you are for having this business. Like I went to the beach today because of you in this business. But, even if you can't do that, even if you're like, listen, I'm just here with my kids, change up lighting, positioning, where you are, all of that kind of stuff. And you'll be amazed at what you can do with your social media without really truly like leaving your house.
Okay. So I've got like,
go outside,
go outside,
walk outside. Better lighting out there, just walk in your backyard.
Yes.
Exactly. Okay. So we've got a few questions that have come in that I need to ask. But before I jump to that, do either of you, or I should ask it differently. Holly, do you do anything with Facebook, or what do you do with Facebook today? And then Jen, do you do anything with Facebook today? Holly, go ahead.
Oh yeah. My Facebook like page, I get half my customers from Facebook and half from Instagram. Facebook like pages have like, they are coming back. They did go down. They are most definitely coming back. I will say with Facebook like pages though, you have to be willing to invest in your business. I invested $3 a day to grow mine, to just get likes over to my page. Let those people, again, watch me. I just let them watch me. I let them become attached to me and my life and my struggles. And that's how I grew there. But I post there every day. When I do like Instagram lives, I do Facebook lives as well, do those at the same time. And it is, again, I know someone said like, it's hard for me to balance both of them. And sometimes a post is going to work better on one platform than the other. I post to both pretty much the same. I'll change like a comment below or like link in bio or, something like that. I don't include like a million hashtags around Facebook. That doesn't make sense. I don't really do a million hashtags around Instagram because that doesn't change. Doesn't really help me anymore either. But no, I utilize both for sure. And I get a ton of people from both.
Okay. Jen.
Instagram is cold and Facebook is warm. So my goal is to find them on Instagram and to bring them to Facebook to become my friend and my family. So the way I post on Instagram is colder. So the stuff that I share there, just for an example, I went to Europe. I shared on Instagram my outfits and I gave them the overview of like, this is the Louvre, like this is Versailles. And it's like kind of very visual, like these are visually appealing pictures. And then on Facebook, I went in deeper. Like that's where the storytelling comes in, because now they're getting to know me, like the in-depth person, how this made me feel and how this was such an incredible experience. And I mass share pictures on Facebook. So for me, Instagram is like a place to find, and then I try to bring them over to Facebook. And how do I bring them over to Facebook? Because I feel like everybody asks that. I still try to run free groups, or I still try to run like Beachbody on Demand 2-week trial groups. I still try to do things over on Facebook that I have a reason to bring them there. And then I also run a branded boot camp every single month. So I'm always able to bring, even if they have no interest in coaching, I'm able to bring them over to Facebook. So that's always my goal. Find on Instagram, bring to Facebook, cultivate the relationship. I try to have very short conversations on Instagram, and I try to have lengthy, more meaningful, in-depth conversations on Facebook.
Okay. So, Perfect. Okay, now we've got to go into like speed round here, because I could talk to you two for 2 hours and we don't have it because Amwala is literally coming on this line in 15 minutes. And Mary Day is going to take over this. So anybody who's on this call, there's only 500 seats available. And if you want to be on with Amwala Caesar from 6 Weeks of the Work, you can stay on and he's going to take this over here in 15 minutes. Okay, quick. We got to kind of go through this. You can both answer, or you can just defer and say her answer was good enough. The first question that came in is, how do you run your challenge groups? Do you run one big group? Do you run, like, what's the operations, or do you run one big group? Do you run small groups? Do you run one workout at a time? Do you let them do whatever they want? How do you run your challenge groups? Jen, you're on my screen first. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, the biggest shift that I did about 6 months ago was I stopped calling them challenge groups and I started calling them boot camps, and I branded it. So mine's called Slay Girl Boot Camp. And so I don't mention it's Beachbody. I say Slay Girl Boot Camp in October. And, you know, this month it's Fall into Fall or Slaytober or whatever we're calling it. So they're always branded. And for me, that gets more traction. So then when I put it out there, whether it be a caption, post, poll, whatever, and they message me for details, I say, have you heard of Beachbody on Demand? That's the platform I use to run my boot camps. So for them, anybody they message on Instagram, whether it's an NASM trainer or whether it's any of these platforms, all of them need a platform to find the workouts, right? So by me sharing that, I'm just saying, this is the platform I use. They're like, oh, I've heard of it. Okay. And then you move into, well, do you want to use supplements? We have X, Y, Z. That's how I pitch my challenge groups. And they're every month because I feel like we always need to be inviting to something. So branded boot camp, switch up the theme every month, same exact group, calendar, meal plan. That's it.
Okay. Holly, any input on that? How do you run your challenge groups?
I do mine in the challenge tracker app. I do challenge groups.
Talk about that. You need to talk about, because you really say that's a benefit to being a coach, is the app.
Yeah. So I like Jen, branding is everything in this business. There's too many Beachbody coaches to just say, come join a Beachbody challenge group. That catches zero people's attention, right? So I brand everything. It's me. You're joining me. You're joining my programs. So one of the perks, and I literally write it like into my post, and I'm like, what do you get when you join this Fit Club or whatever you want to call it? And one of the things that you get is a private app to track all of your workouts, your supplements, and then we have a second private app where you can track your meals and your meal plan. And that's a Nutrition Plus app. So this way, and I did this. I loved when this came out when I was running my like page, because it was all cold market people. I was branding it me, and yet then I was adding them to a Facebook page, which, like, anyone can add to a Facebook page. Anyone and their mom can go create a Facebook page. So when I'm asking you to give me $160, I'm now going to give you a private app. And so I just felt like it was like that differentiator. So I use the private app as a selling point, as a way to say, listen, I'm not just adding you to a Facebook group. I have my own app. So I run groups in the app, 21-day groups every 2 weeks. But I do that more for my coaches. Those are open to any program. So it's a 21-day group. There's a 7-day preseason, so like 28 days total. And if you want, like if they're doing Lift 4, it's open to any program. They can just roll over to the next group. But I do start a new one every time, because I want to make sure that people are continuing on either Shakeology or Energize, Recover. And then anytime there's a new launch, I run a test group specific group. So we have 6 weeks of the work starting on the 7th. I'm going to do 2 of those. So that one runs up through Thanksgiving, then 1 through Thanksgiving, New Year. But other than that, 21-day groups, like month-long groups, just like Jen. Every month, a new group for my coaches. And I run 2, but that's just for my coaches. So one group a month, and then I always do a test group.
Okay.
I think that's so key, is always having something to invite to.
Awesome. So the next question that came up is, how do you recruit or find business builders as opposed to discount coaches? Who wants it?
For me, it's like customer to coach conversion at this point in time. I mean, a lot of people ask how we built, and remember it was years ago and things are different now. I think now for people to be a business builder, they have to be actually drinking their shake, using our products, working out, have a physical sort of transformation. I mean, there needs to be something that they have that is showcasing Beachbody. I've personally never had a really successful coach that didn't do any of the above. Did you? Like I've never had.
Yeah, so I do it actually the exact opposite way.
Mine, like if they have no physical transformation or don't use our products, then I don't know how. They just don't end up quitting.
So for me, I recruit straight. So it's funny because you said like when you started, you recruited like straight up business builders, straight for the business.
Yes.
Right? So that's what I do now is,
and
hey,
they're
look,
both gone.
I'm looking for business builders. And what I tell them is kind of like what I tell my, like, you don't need, so say you have a coach, she's done 21 day fix, a customer, she's done 21 day fix, she wants to join you, but she's still not at her goal weight. That doesn't mean she's not going to be a great coach because she doesn't have 6-pack abs. So that's what I tell my coaches who are joining, right? It's about taking people on the journey with you. So when I have a new coach who's joining, from day one, it's like, hey, what challenge group are you going to join? And who are you inviting to join you on that journey? It's not about necessarily coaching them. You like leverage me and our team and say, listen, I've teamed up with this coach. She's going to help train both of us. I'm starting my business from day one. Do you want to join me? But it's very much a do you want to join me thing, because you're right. They can't go in and act like an expert when they don't have that. But to me, it's like, listen, join as a coach.
Because then we get into that girl boss culture that falls apart. And we want to build like longevity. And so if they come in because they're like, I want to be a 6-figure earner. I saw you guys on that top 10 week. I want to be there. You're not going to be there unless you're using our products that you have to then sell, that you have to prove works. And so that's where I lost. I would bring in a lot of people because I'm like, I can teach you this. I could teach you a business. And then they would come in and then they would do for like 4 months and then they would leave. And so now they need to join. I think what you're saying though is you get them into a challenge group. But mine were coming in purely biz op, like I want to be a boss. And I'm like, but you have to sell the things we're offering.
Okay, so we probably have to get off in the next 5 minutes. Let me ask you this. So, one of the questions that keeps coming up is, what do you teach your new coaches right out of the gate? What's the, anyway, I don't know if you can answer that in as much time as we have, but as far as, if you signed me as a coach today, Holly, what are my first goals? What are you getting me to start doing today, this week? How does that look for your new coaches? And then Jen, what does it look like for yours?
Yeah, so kind of exactly what Jen said. You have to get in challenge group. So you pick your challenge group start date and you pick the challenge group date that you're inviting to. So they have their calendar. So you can either invite to the first challenge group you're in, or 2 weeks later, there's always another challenge group. So you may not be through with your transformation, but you know what a challenge group is. You've been sharing your journey for 2 weeks. And during those 2 weeks, you're inviting someone to join you. So 1, get set up in a challenge group. 2, pick the date of your next challenge group. 3, you need to create your list of 100 people that you're going to be inviting over those 2 weeks into that challenge group. And that's it. I mean, you need to be a product of the product. You need to invite people to join you, and you need to watch the share a cart tutorial so you can figure out how to send out a share a cart, challenge pack to people.
It's the same. Honestly, it's the same. They have to get right into a challenge group and they have to start. They have to, bring people into the challenge group in some capacity, invite them to do it with you. I definitely think that's the way to go versus the overtraining where you're like, let me teach you what a cycle bonus looks like. Let me teach you how to build it. Don't overtrain. Simplify it. Let's get you into the challenge group. Let's pick a program, invite someone to do it with you. Same.
So biggest mistakes coaches make, or mistakes they make in training their new people. What are they? I mean, exactly what you
overtraining.
What else?
Yeah, overtraining. Like literally, like just sign people up. Like people are like, there's a million challenge packs, and how do I compare them? I'm like, I don't know. I don't care. Guess what? 6 weeks of the work is like $150 this month, and they're gonna get everything they need. You want to throw in some containers, but this is what you're gonna sign them up with. Or hey, sign them up with the program you signed them up with. But for me, it's like, what's the cheapest way to get people started? This is the challenge pack you're gonna give them, and let's go. Emerald will come. Diamond's gonna come, but like all this other stuff out there, like do the workouts. Cause it's the overtraining and they get lost in it. Like
totally lost and like distracted by like, let me make a team logo. I'm like, no, don't make a team logo right now. Do the challenge group.
That's awesome. Well, and I can tell you, I mean, you're so right. And I will tell you that, Kim Carver with the field development team, we are, if coaches don't know yet, we've gone to the round table. We are literally going to delete Coach Basics. We are getting rid of the first 30. We are going to come out and really just back the Success Club system and the 4 vital behaviors. And that's the Getting Started program, period. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. The 4 vital behaviors. That is it.
That's awesome. You guys.
And it's all we do, right, Jen? Like that's all we do. When people are like, what do you do as a top coach? The 4 vital behaviors, just a lot of it.
Exactly.
100%. And you guys, I mean, you guys are just so good at what you do, and so good, just even listening to you talk, your confidence, the way you present it, the way you just like no BS, go get it done approach is really, I mean, it just works. So last question. Okay, you've got all these coaches on this call. They earned their way on this call. You got Mwala coming on in 6 minutes. You got each answer in about 1 minute. But, you know, what advice do you give a coach on this call tonight to do differently tomorrow? Like, what should they leave here and go and do?
Really quickly, do not compare yourself to someone else on your team. Don't compare yourself to me or Holly. Don't compare yourself to the top 10. Gauge your success by how many people you're helping right now. So if you have 5 people in your challenge group, but they're excited and they're losing weight and they're happy, you are a freaking amazing coach. Like, know that. It doesn't matter if you end up being a 15-star diamond, or it doesn't matter if you end up being an elite coach, because to that person in your challenge group, you're everything, because you've just changed their life. So that's my biggest advice. It's easy to get caught up in comparing to where you should be or want to be or wish you were. Look at the wins that you're facing right this minute, right now in your coaching business.
Jen, that you put on a t-shirt. Like, seriously, gauge your success by how many people you are helping right now. Like, seriously, we should put that on a t-shirt and everyone wear it to Summit. Anyway, Holly, what's your...
I agree. And if you guys are in here, obviously you're helping people because you had Success Club. So you all have that wind. For me, one of the biggest things for like my coaches is just the overwhelm. And I'm like a big like organization person. So if you're feeling completely overwhelmed, just sit down and really think about what do you need to do in this business, because there's all those shiny objects out there and they're great. But again, this business is super basic. So if it means you need to figure out how to organize that invite list, how to organize your follow-ups, how to manage your business so your business doesn't manage you. I have too many moms who say, I don't want to do this because I'm always on my phone. If you guys feel like you're always on your phone or like this business is running you, it's because you're letting it run you. On my phone, I turn off notifications. I am super, super present with my children when I'm with them. And when I set my business hours, I set my business hours. And I know the exact activities that I'm going to do in those times. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by this business or like you're not where you want to be, sit down, figure out the activities that you are doing that are helping you see success, figure out how you're going to do more of those activities, and you're going to let go of some of those shiny objects that might not matter quite as much.
Awesome. Well, hey, you guys, thank you so much for being on. I mean, seriously, we could do these for 2 hours and probably just keep going and going because your content is so good. We are going to go ahead and shut down this call. You guys are awesome. Literally, there's a call that starts on this Zoom link in 4 minutes. I believe I've got Mary Day and or Keyshawn. Are you guys here?
Yes, Doug, I'm here. Mary's here.
Okay, Mary, you're here, and I know Keyshawn's coming. Mary, we'll go ahead and kick it over to you guys. I think when I log off, it'll stop the recording. You guys, all of you are more than welcome to hang out and be on this Mwala call, or you know, hey, it's an opportunity to hear him. It is a Q&A. He does do a quick training, a quick couple of questions. If you have questions, you're able to ask him questions just by being on the call. So if you wanted to participate, hang out, I'm going to go ahead and bounce. Thank you, guys. I'm going to turn it over to Mary Day. Mary. We'll see you guys. Jen, Holly, thank you so much. That was amazing. We'll see you guys later. Bye. Ooh.